Time to drive a couple of laps around the block using this GPU. Hi guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to my channel. As promised, I'm continuing on with my series called Let's see how these graphics are performed in sim racing. Naming is still work in progress. This time that being AMD's RX 6800 XT GPU series, so let's just get right to it. The RX 6800 XT is one of those GPU series where you, just by the looks of its spec, know that it's going to be a good ride for anyone who puts it into its PC, so I right away knew that it could promise and deliver a lot in terms of sim racing performance, especially put into context of multi-monitor setup. I will not bother you with technical details around it, everything you need to know is in that other video that I've just mentioned. After all, you're here to check out sim racing performance, and that is what we will do. So, as you'll now see, I've used few different resolutions for my testing, ones that correspond to your usual single monitor setup for 1080p all the way up to 4K, and in between I have resolutions that also reflect triple monitor setups for 1080p and 1440p, since those are the most common ones when it comes to sim racing setups. I've also added a bonus resolution, one that Samsung's Odyssey G9 display has, which is currently sitting on my rig, that being 5120 x 1440. Be sure to subscribe, I will make a dedicated video on how it was using this particular display model in relation to sim racing, so don't miss out on that one by clicking on the subscribe and bell icon. Again, since I do not have a triple 1440p monitor setup, I've interpolated the results from the 4K benchmarks. There is a special asterisk for that part, while for the triple 1080p setup I have a custom resolution based on the 4K display that exactly corresponds to the total number of pixels of such resolution setup. Besides the different resolutions, the games are run in two different graphic setting scenarios, one low and one ultra/high, just to see how much leeway could you get in terms of that, although I do know that most of the sim racing drivers do prefer to have more details to go by on the track for their brake turning reference points, but sometimes that can be tasking if you wish to achieve high enough frame rates to deliver them to a high refresh rate monitor, like for example this Odyssey G9, which can run up to 240 Hz of refresh rate. As for the rest of my setup, I'm using overclocked AMD's Ryzen 7 3700X in combination with 32GB of 3200 MHz RAM and M.2 NVMe storage. Feel free to check out everything in the description box down below. With all of this out of the way, let's dig in. If you want to check out the individual review of this particular model, Sapphire's RX 6800 XT Nitro Plus, feel free to do so later on in the right top corner of this video. In terms of the 1080p results, being it in single or multi-monitor setup, as you can see here, there is plenty of frame rates to go about. 16GB of video memory, which RX 6800 XT has, paired with its raw power, handles these two scenarios with zero issues whatsoever. This is especially noticeable with 1440p multi-monitor setups, where all of you who are rocking high refresh rate triple monitor configurations will have no problem passing that 120, 144 or even 165 frame rate mark for the corresponding refresh rate displays. Of course, I don't even have to tell you, but a single 1440p monitor setup doesn't even come close to being a hard task for it. The same goes for the 4K displays, as their resolution is not that much different in total pixel count compared to the triple 1440p setup, so yes, if you have a 4K high refresh rate monitor, you'll be able to have a smooth gameplay in sim racing with the RX 6800 XT GPU. Yes, in some cases it will drop below 100 FPS, as few games on this list are a bit more demanding, but you can always correct that with tweaking the graphics settings a bit. Lastly, we are taking a look at the performance on the Odyssey G9 and its resolution, which is basically just two 1440p resolutions stuck together. So having in mind what we saw with the triple 1440p monitor setup, it was quite obvious that the performance output that we are going to see here will be more than just good enough for 60 FPS. On the contrary, more than double of that in some instances. So, sim racing and RX 6800 XT series of graphics card. Yes, indubitably a great pair, but I think that you know what I'm about to comment. Yeah, the prices and availability, one is through the roof, and the other renders searching for this card, same like trying to find a truffle with using just a teaspoon. That's it for this time for me. Thank you once again for watching. If you find this helpful, please take a second to toss me a thumbs up, because that really helps a lot. And if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe, and if you already are, be sure to press that notification bell down below so don't miss out on a new video. And until then, catch you later guys.